Good morning, Heidi Foy here with Bullfrog Creatives, partnering with the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association, National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association, and the official CNFR. It's Monday, and we are about 5 days out from when all of the action will really start happening. CNFR check-in is on Saturday, and then we'll have the first performance afternoon, kind of matinee, I believe is what it is referred to, on Sunday. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this year went super fast. Before we launch into, we have 3 guests today, so it's going to be full of, well, one of them says he's shy, so let's see if we can get him out of his shell. I feel like that's a challenge. Full of lots of information. We'll put it that way. Before we get going, I do want to give a shout out to our national sponsors for the NIRA and the CNFR. Cinch Jeans and Shirts, not only a partner on Bullfrog Creatives, but also with the NIRA and the CNFR. Ram Automotive, the official automotive sponsor of the NIRA. Cactus Ropes, Cactus Saddlery, Cactus Gear, and Resistol is the official hat for College Rodeo. We have a new national sponsor this year. Want to give a shout out to Cenex. They have been fueling local rodeo fans for nearly 90 years. Oh, excuse me, more than 90 years. Of course, we want to give a shout out to Visit Casper. That is the Convention and Visitors Bureau here in Casper. If you guys are not following them on Facebook, you want to go over there because they are doing a ton of videos this week leading up to the CNFR about things you can do in Casper while you are here. So if you are a freshman or you're new, you have a young family, or first time visit to Casper, make sure you guys visit them. Also want to give a shout out to Powder River Livestock Handling and Maynard Buckles as they donate all of the championship buckles for the champions at the NIRA. So you guys, we're going to chat with the Northwest region today. Stay tuned. All right, we are back. Okay, I have all sorts of names written down. We have the faculty director, Drew Pearson, from the Northwest region. We have McKinley Davis and Kason Pearson also joining us. I feel like I kind of got ambushed because I didn't know we were going to have guests. I feel like I would have done my research, so I would have known about these guys. I guess now I know how it feels.
Drew just can't do things on his own.
It's okay. I get it. I wouldn't want to either. If some random person reached out and said, hey, let's do an interview, I think I would also be like, I need backup for this. So
yeah, that's one thing I've made it a point of. It's not about me. It's about the kids in our region. So I'm going to bring some in with me.
Perfect. That's perfect. Listen, let's be honest. I just think that nobody else thought of it, or they probably would have done the same thing, because I don't know that I've met one faculty director that really looks forward to chatting with me. I mean, live on Facebook. Yeah. Let's be honest, because I'm pretty nice. All right. So, Drew, talk to me about, you guys are in the Northwest region. Tell me about where it is, what colleges are located in your region. Just give me kind of a general rundown of the area.
So the Northwest region, we're a little different than everyone else. We kind of lie up in Oregon, Washington, and a few parts of Idaho. So like the upper end of Idaho, the upper panhandle of it, lies in the Northwest region. And as far as colleges and universities in our region, we only have 5 that have team cards. We have a lot of independent students that come to our region. We're the smallest region in college rodeo, but at the end of the day, there's probably 16 colleges and universities that partake at our rodeos and in our region.
Wow. So that's a big jump from when you say you have a lot of independent students, you have a lot of independent students.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Like this year, I think between our schools that actually had team cards, there was a gap. My team here at Treasure Valley had 42 students Blue Mountain and Walla Walla, which have been really dominant schools in our region, they were at 17 and 15.
Oh my gosh.
And then the University of Idaho had 10, and LCSC, who still buys a team card for one student. So, yeah, I mean, it really makes a difference with the independents. They make up a lot of numbers in our region out here.
So this might be kind of out of your wheelhouse, but maybe not. I mean, what is the reasoning behind these schools not just making that leap and getting that team card? Is it funding? Is it school support? I mean,
I think a lot of it has to do with most of our rodeo out here in the Northwest is actually club. You know, it doesn't fall under the athletic umbrella, and we're club sports at our campuses. So it makes a big difference when it comes to the funding end of it.
so when you say they don't have their team card, what does it take for a college to be a part of the NIRA?
You submit your application to become a team, and it's a $300 charge, which is really not a lot. And
No.
to me, it's a better benefit for the students that we have rodeoing for our college or university. I mean, as a whole, it's a lot cheaper for them to go rodeo as a team than an independent student.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting. I feel like I feel like there's always been a pretty strong showing from competition wise from the Northwest region. But to know that it's all kind of backed and very individual and mostly independent students, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like our top 5 can compete with any top 5. I mean, we are small, but we've got some good rodeo talent out here in the Northwest. I mean, the Northwest as a whole puts on some of the greatest rodeos in the PRCA, you know?
Yeah.
So we have the cowboys and cowgirls out here in the Northwest.
Yeah, I would agree to that. Drew, I know that we had some pretty good conversations in 2020, maybe 2021, when everything kind of got shut down. And I know that your region in particular kind of suffered because there was some pretty major shutdowns in the Oregon, in the state. And you saw a lot of kids kind of leave. Have you guys been able to recover from that? Are memberships back up? Are you still working on that?
We have not yet recovered. I mean, it's always going to be a work in progress out here. I feel we lost a huge team at Central Washington, which lies in Ellensburg, and that was 30 kids on that COVID. And right now we had one from Central this last year that rodeoed. So it has been huge. I mean, our numbers were up a little bit compared to the year after, but it's going to always be a process to maintain and hold kids out here. A lot of Northwest kids leave and go are still leaving and going, you know, to other regions, which it'll never end. We'll have to really work diligently as coaches out here to keep kids at home.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that change, and we see it even here at Casper College, is there are kids that will come here and rodeo for Casper College, but as soon as the rodeo season is over, they're still enrolled in classes, but they're doing online. And so they head south for the winter now. So they are still able to rodeo here, but they're doing it online. So, I mean, it's starting to look very different.
That was one of the greatest things COVID did for us, like here on our campus, is now we can have that online schooling, and it's actually helped in recruiting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of kids from up here in the Northwest want to go to Arizona and Texas in the winter. So it's helped me kind of help build my program here on my campus due to some of that COVID, which, you know, it's been a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still kind of weird to get used to because, you know, obviously that wasn't an option when I went to school, wasn't an option when you did. So when I hear like local college kids say, well, as soon as this last rodeo is done, I'm going to go. Like, what do you mean you're going to go? You got to go to school. What are we here for? Come on. So it's definitely interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how that changes. Again, like you said, you can use that as a recruitment tool. And if you do it right, then there should be, you know, obviously you're doing something right if you have that many students that are rodeoing for you. So kudos to you for taking advantage of that.
Thanks.
All right, McKinley, talk to me about, listen, you signed up for this. So
I don't know if I
get
signed
up
up
here.
for this. It's kind of a voluntold deal.
I was gonna say, you were voluntold for this. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, what year you are in school, what you're studying in school, and then what you compete in.
Oh, some of those questions are hard because I'm 23, so I've been kind of at this for a while. I graduated in 18 and went to Blue Mountain actually, so I've been in the Northwest region since I graduated. All in all, I've taken kind of a year off, and with COVID and everything.
Yeah.
And I was actually done after last year's CNFR. Somebody over here talked me into coming back, and I'm glad that I did. I have really enjoyed this year at Treasure Valley, and I tie goats and I breakaway, and I qualified in both of those events.
So you did skip over a question.
Which one? What year?
What? No, what are you going to school for?
Oh.
What are you studying?
Mm,
All the things?
I'll just say business.
Communications major.
Yep.
Listen,
major.
that's my degree, so I can pick at that degree. It's fine. That's what I got. What would you like to do after college?
I've actually been kind of starting my own business, doing like eyelashes and kind of like a beauty business. So I'd probably like to continue that, and then rodeo, breakaway.
Perfect. What is your favorite event?
Probably breakaway.
So I heard you guys talking a little bit. You have been to Casper before.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite part or favorite thing to do while you're here?
The first year I was here, and I can't tell you the name of it, but we hiked to the waterfall.
Yes.
And that was beautiful. I really liked that. But probably my favorite aspect is just the feeling of being inside that arena and competing. It's unreal.
So for those of you guys that are watching live, that would be Garden Creek Falls, and it is our local Rotary organization maintains that and put all those trails in, and it's amazing. So if you are having if you do have spare time, which I feel like that's a make-believe word during the CNFR because everything is so packed. But if you do have spare time, then Garden Creek Falls is definitely a good option. Have you've qualified once, twice?
Twice. This is my third year going.
Okay,
Yep.
Perfect. So I feel like you should know all the great places. What's your favorite place to eat then?
I
I have a favorite, but I live here, so it doesn't count.
I can't even remember it. There's a steakhouse in town. I don't even know.
Is it on the east side or the west side?
Which way would be?
Is it towards Cheyenne?
In like I feel
Downtown
like downtown
Casper.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that would probably be Ribbon Chop.
That might be it. Yeah.
It might not have been called Ribbon Chop. I think it was Ribbon Chop last year, but it's new, like it was just purchased. So definitely a good option. All right, I'll give you a break. Kaysen, how about you tell me about yourself a little bit? Same things, answer all the same questions.
Well, I'm a freshman this year. I just graduated from Emmett. Was a 3-sport athlete, and then had my uncle talk me into coming to school here at rodeo. So
There we go.
ended up qualifying in the bronc riding and going for ag business.
Perfect. So what is the main difference, or is there a difference between rodeos that you went to in high school, amateur rodeos versus the collegiate level?
Honestly, I didn't really like high school rodeos all that much. The amateur rodeos, it kind of depends on who the contractors are and stuff like that. But the college rodeos is just different because you got all your friends, and no matter like if you're up and they're up in the same event, they're still going to be there to help you. Like my buddy Jace, we're always there for each other. We both qualified in the saddle bronc riding, and if I'm going on, he's right there at the chute with me, and if he's getting on, I'm right there with him. So you're just always there to help your buddy out no matter what happens.
Perfect. I think we talk about that, Drew. We've talked about that so many times, not just at the collegiate level, but I feel like across the board, industry wide, that's one of the things that is just so common here and nowhere else, I would say.
It's what makes rodeo great, in my opinion. You know, we're all there rooting for each other. We might be riding against them, but we want them to beat us just as much as we want to win. You know, and I think that's the great thing about rodeo.
Well, I mean, you know, even the show that we do, that Jim Boy Hash and Tony Branquino and I do in December, we talk about it all week. You know, there's always a really strong bond with the shoe wrestlers, but that is true across every event. So thank you for sharing that with us. I feel like I would like for you to say more, but I also don't want you to hide and run when you see me coming in Casper.
So I'm going to throw some. Kaysen works both ends of the arena, which is one of them aspects it's hard to find anymore. You know.
Yes.
He's that Frost of our Northwest. You know, he ties calves just as good as he rides broncs, and just little things that cost him from probably making the trip this year in a timed event. He plans on jumping some steers next year, so he'll be a 4-event, possibly a 5-event cowboy. He's been kicking around, getting on some bulls too. So it could be great.
Man. Okay. So we've talked about this. I feel like you've led us right into talk about the all around, but we talk about this. We have talked about this every time we talk about all around results. So were you able to break that 200-point barrier in more than one event this year?
Yes, ma'am. I think I broke in all 3 of them, in the team rope, and the calf rope, and the bronc riding.
So let's talk about that, because, and maybe I think when you're the student athlete, you probably don't put as much thought into all that has to come together to compete in more than one event. So it really is a big deal. Like, even when I think about it now, I was a multi-event cowgirl. I did everything that I could. I did not get points in everything that I could. However, I still did it, but it never even crossed my mind that it was harder on me to compete in one event with all the other events. So has that ever crossed your mind, or is it just always been this way? You've always done all these events and it's no big deal.
Well, honestly, I didn't start calf roping and riding broncs till my sophomore year of high school, but I always team roped. I just think the hardest thing about it is getting ready for the next one, because with our region, it's a little smaller, so everything's like right on top of each other. So you got to run from one to the next to the next. So it's just right on top of each other. Other than that, I don't think it's all that bad.
I don't think we would know how to get by rodeo without having to rush to the next event, though. That keeps you from thinking too
That's
hard.
what I was going to say. I mean, that's why it worked for me, because I didn't really have time to get nervous, because I had just done this and then I got to go into this. So
most of the time, Kaysen we team rope together. I headed for him. Most of the time, I would get done tying my goat and have 5 girls and then a couple team roping teams, and I had to get on, and he had my horse saddled and booted up and warmed up. All I had to do is jump on and go. So,
well, and I think that's more common, where people aren't as, like, student athletes don't get nervous about it because they're so used to that rush in between events. But truly, I would say, like, I will give you the accolades, because when I look at it now, like, man, that's a lot to manage. You've got to get, if you're using different horses for different events, and you've got to change saddles, or you've got more than one saddle, you've got a team of students that are warming your horse up while you're doing this, or, whatever that looks like. It's a lot more to manage than just one event. Mm-hmm. And I would say I also didn't know what it was like to not do more than one event. So I think when you're in that situation, you just do what you do, because that's what you all have always done. Yeah. All right, let's talk. We're already 20 minutes in. See, we can talk forever. So we're 20 minutes in. We haven't even talked about results. Who is going to talk about the men's team?
I guess they're all pointing at me.
Don't everybody go at once.
So we're on our men's side this year. Treasure Valley Community College ended up first, and BMCC, Blue Mountain Community College, ended up second. So they'll both take a men's team out to the college finals. I think we've got some strong areas in both of them. I can say both of the teams are the majority of the kids that are on them, they've been there before, so it's nothing new to them, which I think makes a huge difference. We'll fill some of our spots this year with some kids that went last year for the first time, and you can try to build up to them students what Casper is, and it's still just mind-blowing to a young freshman, sophomore, his first trip there.
Yeah.
And I recall I had a bronc rider, and I remember his second performance. He goes, I just can't get over standing on the back of the chutes and hearing everything. It just throws my whole game off. And so I think that it'll help us this year where we only have a few kids that have never been back there that will be going and competing for the Northwest out there in Casper.
Perfect. Well, and I think, we've talked about this before. The talent is fairly level. What really sets these student athletes apart at this level, at this standpoint, is their mental game. If you can get control of those emotions and the overwhelming of the crowd or any of that type of stuff, then that's how you set yourself apart. Yeah,
for sure. I agree. I mean, the mental part of rodeo is the toughest part to get everything tied in. And that's when you finally become a consistent winner, it's because mentally you're a winner,
Yeah.
That's what gets a lot of these young kids.
Absolutely. So also now in the women's standings, very similar to men, Treasure Valley and Blue Mountain. So talk about your women's team a little bit.
My women's team, I feel like I've been at this for 6 years, been blessed. I've had some great teams. I feel like this is the best team that we've ever came to Casper with. It's kind of funny because our team this year worked out. I have 3 gals that are going to make up our team, but they're going to be pulling in points from 6 events between the 3 of them.
Wow.
So I think that they're all very well in the events that they're going in. I think it's their strongest events by far.
We've all made it before too.
And every one of them have made it to Casper in these events multiple times. So
Perfect.
I'm super excited.
Perfect. So men's all around. Coy
and Zane Taylor, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Holy cow. And that was close.
So our all around, it actually was a big flip flop. The kid that actually ended up third was leading it going into our last weekend and just had some issues, so it was a dogfight the whole way. I think they're actually packing Coy another event for his all around. So he'll actually be in 3 events when we get to Casper. And Coy rodeos very well. He comes from a long rodeo lineage, been around rodeo his whole life. I think Coy could do some great things out there. And I think Zane Taylor could too. Zane's actually there in the team roping with his little brother. It's his first trip there too. So that's going to be cool to see.
Awesome. And I totally spelled your name wrong, Kason. I see you ended up 5th in the all around, which is probably not exactly where you wanted to land, but pretty darn good as a freshman, I would say.
Yeah, I didn't have a very good fall, so.
Well, and that's one of those things. I mean, it's really easy to ride the momentum and can be very difficult to get it back if something happens. So, still go ahead.
We don't have enough rodeos, I feel like, to be able to
get momentum.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Like, that's where we differ from everybody else is people don't realize we only have 5 stops.
Oh,
we have 5 double headers. So if you have a bad weekend out here, it can really cost you in the Northwest. Well, and that's something that we hope to change as I keep progressing and we keep kind of building the region. Is I want to branch out and not have to do so many double headers. So if a person has an off weekend or if you have a injured horse or something like that, it's not a huge game changer.
Yeah. So do you guys do you split them between the spring and the fall, or do you do them all in the spring? Like, how does that work?
So we used to have 2 fall rodeos, and then we did 8 spring rodeos. This year we actually fit in 4 fall rodeos, and then we had 6 in the spring. The tough thing is our spring ones, they're usually back to back to back. So this year we actually put a weekend in where everybody kind of got a breather before the regional finals, which was nice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you have rodeos like that, if you're only going 4 weekends and getting 10 rodeos in, you're right. There's no break. There's no it changes your mental game because you don't have an opportunity to go home, reset, come back next weekend. We'll get them next weekend. So, I feel like y'all probably are more mentally prepared than many others because of that format.
Yeah, I think it will help to a degree. I think sometimes it kind of hinders them too, though.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm going to keep scrolling down here. How about women's all around?
You can talk about it.
Kennedy Buckner and Samantha Kearns, both super strong competitors. And I think that was kind of a dogfight all year between those, both girls that do every single event. I think that those are probably the top 2 to take our all around and reserve all around.
And the one thing Kennedy's got going for her is she took another spot on that women's team. So she'll pack 3 events into the college finals, which is a huge game changer when it comes to all around points or being able to get all around points. A lot of our kids are there in 2 events. When you can pack that 3rd event, it makes a difference.
Yeah, for sure. So can you explain that to us really quick? If you qualify on the team, how does she get that 3rd event? Like, why is that a big deal?
So she was the all around. She won the all around. And by winning the all around or the reserve all around, if you cannot fill your team, you can opt for that person to take a whole nother spot on that team. And then they can pack with that all around, because she qualified in 2 events on her own. So then she opted to pack that all around event also. So she brings a whole nother event to the college finals, but takes another team spot. Where their team was small, so it was tough for them to fill that 4 women, 6 men team. So they were able to utilize them all around positions to take other spots on them teams.
Okay. So I had never heard of that. Is it probably not very?
It's not very common, because most of the time, if your team's winning, you have 4 or 5 tough girls that are already going on that team. And then where our numbers are a little different than everybody else's, and they can't fill them team spots, that all around really plays a difference, especially for a young lady or a young man that already makes it in 2 events outright. If they won that all around, they get a pack that they can take another team spot and take that event.
So maybe what kind of hurt her, or not hurt, but is unique to your region, could actually benefit her in the all-around race at the national, at the CNFR.
Her and Coy both, really, at the end of the day, yes. Yeah, they've kind of set themselves up for that extra boost,
Yeah, for sure. Well, that'll be fun to watch, I feel like. All right, here's the question that nobody wants to answer. Who else? If you guys all know, and this is why it's hard, because especially in a region of your size, everybody knows everybody. Y'all probably know people's names of their horses because it's such a tight-knit group. So I'm going to have you do it anyways, but call out some other contestants, some other student athletes that are going to be coming that we need to keep an eye on, or that you just feel like performed well this year, or that you just like, whatever.
So I'm going to start. I've got 2 of them right now that I can think of. In the tie-down roping, there's a young man named Coley Gurin. He transferred to us in the fall. He's been there. He made the short round in the calf roping and the bulldogging last year. And he's going to be one to watch in the tie-down roping, in my opinion. Kind of the same deal on the ladies' side. There's Emma Gurin. She was a transfer student that's been there in the breakaway and the goat tying, that has won some rounds out there. And I think she'll be one to watch from the Northwest too.
Perfect.
I have Gwyneth Sheen in the barrel racing. She won, I think, all but 2.
I think she won 8 of our 10 rodeos.
Yeah.
I was
And
just
her
trying to
horse, and I know her horse's name. It's Tay.
see. I told you.
She actually had her horse got injured at on one of our weekends, and she was unable to ride her for 2 perfs, but she won 8 of our 10 rodeos. Like, yeah, and
Those were the 2 perfs that she didn't win.
Yeah.
She wasn't on her horse, so
Yeah.
we got a young man. It'll be his first trip in the bareback ride, and I think that he'll be worth watching. Mason Yancey. We're only going to get him for a year. He's actually going to transfer to Panola and go to school for Jeff. So, yeah, but you know what? If you're a bareback rider, what a great place to go. You're gonna get a lot out of that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, Kason, your turn.
I'd say the Taylor boys in the team roping, Ty and Zane Taylor.
Perfect.
They really turned it on in the spring, team roping. So I think they're one to watch in the team roping.
All right. So you are a very quiet young man. I feel like I need another question, but I don't know what else to ask you. So I will say there are some new things coming up for the CNFR this year. Of course, kind of the normal things that we do, but also, Jim Dewey has worked hard to recognize Jim Dewey and the entire board. I'm sure that you guys made this decision, but there will be an armband ceremony this year. So we did get a little bit more information about it. It's going to be somewhat low key this year, and then they'll hopefully plan to build it up as it continues. But we had some questions off of the show about, like, what do we wear? What does the attire look like? So it is going to be held at the event center in the arena, and the attire is just Western attire. I think the long-term goal of this is to make it more of an evening kind of gala event-ish, and make it more of a dressier event, like we see at the NFR, like we see at some of the other national competitions. But I guess what is your feeling about that? Everybody.
I'm excited for it, because I think that, like I said, I've been doing this for 6 years, and I feel a lot of times that the students that have worked so hard and so diligent to make the CNFR, it's the second biggest rodeo in the world, and I feel like the students don't get the recognition that they deserve a lot of times. And that's something I'm really big about, even out here in the Northwest. We don't get a lot of recognition. These students don't, and rodeo doesn't as a whole. So I think it's a great new aspect to add. I think it's going to showcase our athletes that we're bringing from our regions, and I'm excited for it.
Well, and I think something that I hadn't really thought of before, but not only is it going to showcase the individual contestants, which they deserve. I mean, we all know that they kind of come to college with these skills, and then you hope to refine them a little bit and help them grow and make smart decisions as an adult. But they've been working on this, many of them since they were 7 or 8 years old, doing junior rodeos. And so to get to this level and to still be going and still be competitive, and some people don't even peak until they get to college. So to give that back to these contestants and show them, like, we know the work that you've put in, we understand how hard you've worked, and let's add something else. We also know that you maintained your grades and you did all the things that you had to do to get here, and we're going to celebrate you on this night. So I'm super excited. So not only are we going to celebrate those individual contestants, but I think it also gives us an opportunity to look at the schools as a whole. Like, Treasure Valley, look how many contestants Treasure Valley brought. We can't put them all on the team. Or look at how many contestants Blue Mountain Community College brought. It also gives you guys an opportunity to kind of stand in the spotlight too, which I feel like is also important, because the coach you might not be coaching rodeo technique, but you're still coaching. You're probably more of a life coach than you are a rodeo coach at times.
I think that's the majority of it. I mean, we can put in front of these young students all the tools to make them better. But at the end, my goal at the end of the day is to make a better human. I mean, yes. I want these kids to all go out and prosper when they leave here and call me and we'll talk. I have students over the last 6 years that call me all the time. And there's nothing better than that feeling that I made a difference in this young athlete's life, or it's great.
Listen, I made a trip back to Missoula, Montana in 2020 for the first time since I graduated for the 60th birthday of my coach. And it was monumental. I mean, I still stay in touch. So there's just a lot of growth that goes on there, and you might not understand when you're in it, but once you get out, then you can understand. Then you understand, you can look back.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about it?
I just had a joke that I think we teach him more than he teaches us about life.
Listen, there's a lot of things that I didn't realize were so life-changing until we started boarding horses for college kids. Life-changing. Who knew mascara could be life-changing? I'll take it, whatever. So I do have a comment. I'm going to throw it up here. What can we, the local citizens of Casper, do to help further the recognition of all the accomplishments of these student athletes? I think that's a great question, Aaron. I would answer just to show support. If you can buy tickets, go up there. If you know any contestants, or you see somebody on here, make signs. That's really the best way to support. If you know anybody that owns a business in town, talk to them about it. Have them see if they can get involved as a sponsor. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head right there. I think just get behind and rally behind what happens in Casper for the next 10 days. That's the most we can do, is that supports these kids more than anything.
I mean, I think go ahead.
Sorry. Every time.
That's all right. I'm a talker, so you have to interrupt.
I think that people don't realize how much we thrive off of
A full building.
Yeah, people coming to watch us. I mean, that support is what we need. We thrive off that. I know for a fact that I thrive off of the pressure and walking into a full building and, not thinking about it and just doing my thing, but knowing that many people are watching me do what I love.
Yeah, for sure. Kason, I know this is going to be your first trip, but I mean, what about you?
Honestly, I think that's going to be a big difference for me, because I don't think I've been to a rodeo. Like, he's told me that it's going to be packed like that. I've been to the high school finals, but I don't think it's near as packed and where everyone's just watching you, because they have split arenas. So I honestly just can't wait to get down there and see what it's like.
Well, and I think the difference, I mean, especially, I don't know where it was when you made the high school finals, but especially like in Gillette, I feel like the crowd is kind of far away.
Yeah, Gillette, it was pretty far away. And then I also made it to Nebraska, and that was set up like just the exact same. So it's kind of like you're on your own. Like they're there, like you can hear them, but they're way out there. So
well, and with two arenas, you don't even know if they're cheering for you. In your mind, they're all cheering for you, right? Because who else? But I think, when they're that far away and there's two arenas, it's super easy to just kind of tone them out. And when you're in one arena, one contestants at a time, and they're like basically right on top of you, that's what makes it different.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait to get down there and see what it's like. Just the experience part of it.
So Aaron, let's see. This will be the first year in 6 that I've not held season tickets right next to the timed event staging tunnel. We'll be there Saturday as well as at the style show Sunday. Let's do this. Perfect. Listen, we appreciate your support, and those season ticket holders, especially if you've done it year after year, that's where the fan base starts to grow. Or I'm sad that you don't have season tickets this year. Hopefully you can get back in there and get them. I get it. I mean, I do get it. So thank you so much for joining us. Did you guys have anything else that you wanted to share? Who just walked in? Do we need to do another one?
This is another one of our Sienna Fire qualifiers. This is another bronc rider.
Don't be shy.
Joining us at Casper again. This will be a second. Yeah. Well,
I feel like you walked in at the right time, because we don't really have time to grill you, which is sad, but I will find you when you get to Casper. Look at, he's like, no, thanks. I'm leaving.
No.
Well, thank you guys so much.
speaking of the style show, North Region they're the style year. So we've got these.
So Northwest Region is modeling this year?
Yeah. These kids will be the
Perfect.
models this year. So
that's something that I don't very often talk about. There is a style show, a cinch style show on Saturday, the 17th. All the proceeds go to benefit the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association Foundation, which is where a lot of our scholarships come from. So not only do these contestants come to this level to earn national championships, but they also earn scholarships. So one of the main programs that we like to promote, if you are interested in purchasing style show tickets, just comment on here, give us a message, and we'll send that information out. I'll be sure to share some information also. Depending on which platform you are joining us on, there is some information on the CNFR page, and I will be sure to share some out on Bullfrog Creatives and the NIRA page as well. So Kim Furnival, who is our local president of the local committee, she is commenting that we're excited and ready to rodeo, of course. So anyhow, you guys, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. Again, I could go on forever, which I feel like everybody knows that. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. You guys travel safe. And Drew, I assume I will probably see you tomorrow. I don't know when you guys will get here, but we will see you at least on Saturday.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be in. I fly out tomorrow, and the kids will start getting there Thursday night to
Perfect.
start going breaking in cattle and stuff on Friday. So,
all right. Well, you guys travel safe, and we will see you soon.
thank you.
All right, there you have it. Again, if you guys have any questions like Aaron had on how you can support these student athletes or how you can keep the CNFR in Casper, reach out to me, reach out to our local committee members. If you don't know where to go, you can reach out to me, of course, and I will point you in the right direction. Again, we want to give a shout out to our national sponsors, Cinch Jeans and Shirts, not only a partner of the NIRA, but also a partner of the official CNFR and Bullfrog Creatives. We are very grateful for that partnership. We also want to give a shout out to Ram Trucks, Cactus Ropes, Cactus Saddlery, Cactus Gear, Resist All Hats. Cinex is our new national sponsor this year, fueling local rodeo fans for over 90 years. And Visit Casper, who is our local Convention and Visitors Bureau, want to give a shout out to them. And Powder River Livestock Handling Equipment, and of course, Maynard Buckles. You guys, none of this would be possible without not only our national sponsors, but also our local sponsors that keep coming back and see the value not only in the CNFR as an event, but also in the value that these student athletes potentially have the potential to bring to our world. We're working on raising good humans here. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We have 2 more in our countdown to the CNFR. On Wednesday, we're going to speak with Kirsten Pettis. And then Friday, we're going to wrap up with the West Coast region and talk to Tyree Cochran and Ben Londo. So those are going to be live, probably up at the event center. All right, you guys, we are dangerously close to actually kicking off the CNFR. So stay tuned and we will catch you on Wednesday.
Perfection almost looks easy. But it isn't. Here's to those who go the distance.